watching the Education News Network, where you get the latest developments in education at the top of this hour. Today, we're going to talk about a very important topic. We see that maintaining high academic standards and supporting students' achievement are more crucial than ever. In our panel discussion on academic excellence, we'll explore the strategies that school leaders use to ensure success, from innovative teaching methods to effective student support system. Our esteemed panelists will share their insights and experiences. Join us as we dive into these critical approaches to fostering academic success in our schools. To talk and to gain some more knowledge on this topic, we have three very special guests with us: Anupama Mam, Shahista Ismail Mam, and Aditi Bhattacharya Mam. Let me give you a brief introduction about all of them. So, our first panelist is Anupama Mam, who is an experienced educational administrator with over 30 years of pan-India experience. She holds postgraduate degree in English literature and education. She has international teaching and research experience in the USA as a Nehru Fulbright Award winner. Passionate about teacher training and educational writing, she has received numerous awards, including the Chanakya Award in 2019 and Educator of the Year in 2022. She is currently the founder principal of Delhi Public School in Electronic City, Bangalore. Anupama Mam is also an active speaker and writer on education-related topics. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
Our second panelist is Shahista Mam, who is an educationist with over 18 years of experience. She has a diverse background, including work with international organizations like the British Council and the Ministry of Defense in Oman. Born in Chennai and raised in Middle East, she holds a bachelor's in commerce and has a Montessori training from UK and USA. She earned a master's in Montessori education from Sarasota University and is pursuing a PhD in educational philosophy. Her articles have been published in magazines like Education Today and Silicon India. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
And our third panelist is Aditi Bhattacharya, ma'am, head of school at Radcliffe Group of Schools, Bangalore. Advocates for a holistic curriculum to equip students with essential modern skills, enhancing academic standards, critical thinking, creativity, and intercultural understanding. With 27 years of experience in education across India and the USA, she is a school reviewer for the Council of International Schools and NEASC and a senior Ivy Educator Network member. She holds a master's in physics, a BA from Calcutta University, and a Harvard Leadership in Education certificate. Welcome, ma'am. We welcome all of you to our show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
So, ma'am, Anupama Mam, can you tell me, how do you address the balance between standardized testing and fostering creativity in students?
Thank you for that question. And we all know that all educational endeavors, irrespective of which board it is or which part of the country it is, all of us aim for educational excellence, and that is considered to be the primary duty of all educational institutions. Having said that, as we are stepping into the 21st century, there is a pressing demand for schools not only to develop academic standards, but also ensure that they are learning life skills and, of course, the skills of being employable, which are also known as the 21st century skills. So the question is, as an educational institution, how are we balancing academic standardized assessments and also ensure that there is enough bandwidth to ensure that students are getting these skills, especially the ones of creativity? We all know that there is a big debate going on. Are we preparing the students for the future? Well, I keep asking myself, did anybody think about that when we were studying? Did we all adapt to the present? And aren't we all doing well in life? I think the only thing that we have to teach all our students, irrespective of which stream of study they take up, with academic subjects, I think we have to teach the students how to be adaptable. There is going to be a time in their life also when probably they have to unlearn a lot of things and relearn something else. Do they have this adaptability to learn a new skill and carry on with life? So I think, in addition to the classroom experiences that we are giving to our students in abundance, we have to ensure that assessments are project based in the classrooms so that children get an opportunity to use the knowledge and skills learned in the classrooms to solve real life problems. Because a problem solver is the one who can be creative anywhere, anytime. And also, we need to tell teachers to use diverse ways of teaching so that the multiple learning styles are addressed in the classroom. All students learn differently, and if a teacher is mindful of this, I think creativity is the culture of that school. And also, we need to take students out of their classrooms. Although today classrooms are equipped with the state of the art infrastructure to conduct the classes, I think it is very important for us and critical also that students are taken out of their classrooms, out of the school also, to see where is their education going to be utilized. So if we ensure that these very basic dimensions are addressed, I think all schools can balance the need for standardized tests because that is something that we cannot get out of. Systems will have to change if we have to stop that, but otherwise, I think we can ensure that children develop these skills of communication, creativity, collaboration, and everything else in addition to academic excellence if the system is a little mindful.
Well said, Mom. So with that, Shahista ma'am, can you tell me what are your views on the role of technology in the classroom? Do you think it enhances or hinders learning?
Thank you for that question. I think that particular question should be rephrased to become a little more relevant for the classrooms today. This particular question that has been asked is a very debatable question. We've got educators on one side who are for technology, and we have educators on the other side who say technology could be a bane as well. So let's understand what do we know about technology so far. We know that technology is it's a wonderful tool as it has proven its importance during COVID. I don't think any of us could have made learning possible if it wasn't for the technology and the adaptation that allowed us to have learning as a continuous process during COVID. But at the same time, we know that technology comes with its own banes. One of it being that it can be misused. It can lead to interference with the academic integrity for older kids. It could also have repercussions of everything that we're seeing today in terms of safety and cybercrime and all of that. So if you look at it, one side we know that it's a wonderful tool. On the other side, we know that it comes with certain disadvantages as well. But apart from this, there is one thing that we know for sure. It's that technology is advancing, and it's advancing at a very fast rate. And the children that are today in our classrooms are pretty much Generation Z. And Generation Z are digital natives. Even if you try to avoid technology in your classrooms, they have access to iPads and phones and pretty much everything that you and I possibly did not have when we were inside classrooms. So we cannot ignore technology. So then, to answer your question, for me, at least at our school, technology is about, it's an enabler. It does not replace what we do inside the classrooms, but we consider it as an enabler. And I think what's very, very important for us is technology to be used on our own terms. So we take from it what we want and we discard what we don't. So as long as we are able to do that, I think technology can prove to be a very useful tool. And one of the responsibilities for schools today is to ensure that we teach our children about digital literacy. We cannot avoid technology, but I think it becomes a part of our responsibility to ensure that they know how to use technology in a way that is useful for them and in a very mindful manner. So is technology a bane or a boon? Well, it completely depends on how you use it and if you use it on your own terms and conditions, and that's what I think.
Right. So, Shahista ma'am, I want to ask you, when you speak about technology, it's boon and a bane. So, ma'am, we all know as technology has its own advantages and disadvantages. So, ma'am, if a student or a children is going through the technology a lot, and everything is present on the internet, so how do you convince the parents to stop that, or after a while just put a pause? So, ma'am, can you tell me about it?
So I think again that's where it's good to have an understanding of how technology is being used. Like I said, there are advantages to the utilization of technology, and then there are disadvantages. Now, if the child is using technology to create a PPT presentation or something that's going to allow his learning process, and the parents are aware of this, then I don't think it is something that they should discourage. But if the technology, I mean, if the phone or the computer is being used to kind of watch TikTok videos or do something that is unproductive, then definitely yes, there has to be certain limitations that are put on its usage. But again, at the same time, I want to emphasize that children today, Generation Z, they need to be told why, and they need to be made to understand what they should be doing and why they should be doing. So the question of why has to be clearly explained to them. And yes, rules are important. I know of parents who feel that everything can be a dialogue and everything can be explained, and all that is great. But certain times when we know for sure that the use of technology, because it does have addictive, research has shown that it can get addictive for children, which is not very good for their development. So when parents know that it is something that is going out of control, I think certain rules should be put in place. And that is where, there should be open and clear communication. So it's a continuous and an ongoing dialogue. I don't think there can be a hard and fast rule with technology. It's again coming down to on whose terms is that technology going to be used. And it's the same thing for parents as well. They need to define the terms of usage to the children and ensure that that is adhered.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. With that, we'll move ahead with Aditi, ma'am. Ma'am, how do you handle cases of underperforming teachers, and what measures are taken to ensure accountability?
Thank you for the question. We have something in our school that is in place, is that the support. So, and also the clear communication of the expectations. So we call it a performance pathway plan. So in that plan, PPP, and it's very famous in our school, that PPP. Everybody talks about it. So it is basically that when a teacher is coming, and we have to make them comfortable, we have to let them know that it is okay to try out new teaching methods, and it's absolutely okay if it doesn't work. So we encourage them to teach in innovative way, try out their own things that they are interested on. But we kind of let them know what are expected as an institution. Those are non-negotiables, right? So the basic guidelines are clearly communicated, and based on that, teachers are free to take whatever risk they want to take, whatever new things they want to try. And we always monitor them. So we pair up new teacher with old teacher, we call like mentors. So mentor system is on place to support them. We also observe the classes. If there are peer observations, then observations by the coordinator. So there are a lot of classroom observations taking place there. And the basic thing that I feel is that the support. So when I give feedback about someone else is giving feedback, it is not for judging, right? The feedback is given and taken in a free mind, so that they know that it is for their own growth and the growth of the institution. So it is given in a very, very free way, very, very caring way, and also professional development. I think that plays a big role in teachers' development. So we set goals for the teachers, what they want to learn and where they have to improve. And based on that, we do professional development in school, and also we add in professional development from outside. So professional development also plays a big role. So basically making the expectations clear, setting up a caring environment where teachers are free, as well as we also make sure that we provide enough support for those teachers. So that is how we are going with that PPP for our school.
Right. So, Aditi ma'am, can you tell me how long does it take for a teacher to, adapt the technology developing?
When you talk about technology, I have seen in COVID time what happened. So we were within 15 days were given to us so that we can go live with our online classes, and all the teachers picked up. So what I think is that it depends on what is the expectation set and what they have to do for the institution. We were an one-on-one iPad school in my previous institution, where we were given technology to just to play and enjoy for like 6 months. And when we got interested to it, then we started using the tool. So I have seen technology teachers adapting to it in a long term as well as within very, very short span. So I think it's all depends on how the need is and what is the expectation of the institution.
Right now. So, Anupama Mam, can you tell me, is there a disparity in resources and support between public and private schools? And how does this impact student achievement?
Yeah, so that question can lead to a lot of controversy, I should say. But then I must admit that the disparity is not only between private and public schools, but there is a lot of disparity when it comes to resources amongst the private schools, amongst the public schools also. So yes, I must agree that there is a disparity in the distribution of resources, not only between private and public, but generally. And yes, it does impact the quality of the experiences that we provide to students in the school because not all that the students do is people driven. Sometimes it is system driven also. The kind of infrastructure we have, the kind of classrooms they have. Do we have enabling spaces? Do the children have a playground to explore that? Do we have enough computers, because now technology and AI is coming into all our schools. So it all matters. But I would say that there is no disparity as far as potential of students is concerned. It is the same whether it is a private school or a public school, whether it's in India or elsewhere. So what I feel is that all of us can do something to bridge this gap and see that the disparity is lessened as much as possible. For that, I think all the stakeholders of the school, of the community, should come together to ensure that this disparity does not affect the students' quality of learning. Earlier, the focus was on teaching, right? But now we have moved, especially with NEP and NCF coming in, and a lot of policies of the state government also. The shift is now on the quality of learning. So I think that primarily parents are a great resource. We have so many parents who are willing to be a part of the school system as teachers, as volunteers when we grow, when we go out of the school. So I think we have to make use of that, and also the industry also. There is a lot of focus on the connect between school and industry, which some schools are not able to establish. I think the local industries should come forward and provide with the students with internships so that students know where they will be going after they finish their education. A lot of social organizations like the Rotary Club or the Lions Club has been doing a lot of work. I am a Rotarian and I was a Rotary president till the 30th of June. We have a school in Bhattacharya, which is the government school. We identified that the school lacks, a basic science lab, and children were very keen on pursuing science. So we got in touch with a company named Drilio, and they helped us set up a wonderful science lab in the school. And today, children are exploring scientific concepts in that school. We also had a walkathon which we organized in our school, and all the funds collected were donated to set up a reading room in this very school. Some other organization from Mumbai has started building rooms for the school, additional classrooms, and also they are getting a state-of-the-art playground also. So where there is a will, there is a way. But all of us should be mindful of all the schools that are around us. We should be ready to share our resources. Our teachers, they used to go to that school. Our students would go to that school to teach the students there some functional English and music also. So I think that the disparity will be there, was there, is there, but we can use technology also to bring in a lot of equality and equity in education. And if we make up our mind, I think we can resolve this issue of disparities, especially of resources, because children are the same in all schools. They just need an opportunity. And I think we have the resources to provide that from our end.
That was really thoughtful of you, Anupama Mam.
Thank you.
So we'll move ahead with Shahista Ma'am. Ma'am, can you tell me, how do you manage the pressure and potential conflicts that arise from parents' expectations for their children's academic performances?
Thank you for that question. Again, I think somewhere as a school founder who has her own children at my school, I understand very clearly that parents have only the best interests at heart when they are conflicted. So for us at Mont, when parents come to us, the first thing we do is we ensure that we listen to them and listen with the intent of understanding what it is that they are trying to convey to us. Parents, at the end of the day, again, like I said, are a very important part of this triage that we have of the education process. I'm sure all my, my counterparts here will agree that parents are very, very important. And when we talk about the development of children, it's a partnership between parents and the school. The schools can't do it alone. It takes a village to raise a child, and parents play a very important role in that. So many a times, I have come across a lot of forums where we see parents being very conflicted with, with not being heard, or wondering what is happening inside the schools, or sometimes just wanting to understand, what is the potential of my child, or why is my child not performing in a particular way. So there is a lot of concern that goes behind, parents being conflicted. And I think somewhere we need to empathize and recognize that, and, make them feel like they're being heard. And we do that very diligently at our school. It's sometimes parents, and this is very common, parents tend to compare. I mean, I do it too, right? Why is that child doing better than this child? Or why is my child not performing enough? And somewhere, especially with my kids, I have 3 kids, the youngest being 6 years, and he takes offense to being compared. So children today are very sensitive, and I think that's where we need to educate the parents on how it is that they need to kind of think about their children's progress. So it's no longer, this child has got 96% and why hasn't my child got 98%, or, why is there a 1% difference, or So the whole parameter of understanding a child's progress or development needs to change. And I think that is something to do with the parental mindset as well. So when parents come to us, at least, the first thing we do is listen to them very mindfully. And if there is a parent that is very agitated, or is somebody who's just not willing to have a dialogue, then what we do is we ask them to question the intent behind coming to us, wanting to voice their opinions to us. And finally, when there is a conversation, we understand that the intent is pretty much shared. They want what's best for the child, and so do, right? I mean, all of us as educators, we want what's best for our children. And that is a common ground that we can agree on. And once we find that common ground, everything else is pretty much listening, understanding, empathizing, and then charting a path forward with mutual understanding. So this is what we take. Conflicts, this is the path we take, and conflicts can be, they're not very comfortable, not for the parent, not for the institution, because we know we put in our 100%. So when parents come to us and they're not happy about something, it does affect us emotionally as well. So we get that, and I think having clear channels of communication with parents right from the word go is very, very important. Letting them understand what is happening inside the classrooms, giving them clear parameters of measurement of growth from their child. And I'm not just talking about academic parameters, this could be pretty much anything. Helping them identify their children's strengths, teaching them how to talk to the children by using phrases that emphasize what the children are good at, not necessarily what the children may not be good at yet. So these are things that we kind of constantly do at Mont to ensure that our parent community is pretty much with us every step of the way. And yes, like every institution, we do have ups and downs, but it's a learning process, even for us as an institution. And we're very open to that learning process. We invite our parents to come into our classrooms. We invite our parents to come in and have a dialogue with us. And that has worked very well for us as an institution.
So, ma'am, can you tell me, when you spoke about comparing, even after, seeing few signals that their children doesn't like it, they would still try to do that. Personally, even I would get offended. As you said, you would also not like it, right? So, even after that, how do you, manage to make those parents understand that comparing is not good for your child? It could harm them mentally and maybe lead them to stress or something like that.
So, in our school, I'm sure in the other schools as well, sometimes we have parents who, are not very aware on how to handle their child. We have first-time parents, and then we have parents who are second-time parents but still say, okay, my first child was easy, but my second child I just don't get. So, as schools, for us also, understanding parents and ensuring that we update them on parenting skills and child development is an ongoing process. So, we conduct these open forum discussions with parents through workshops, one of the things that we do is we don't have a dialogue just with parents, but we also talk to the children. This is a part of our, the emotional intelligence that we kind of nurture among the children. We have classes where we talk to them about their emotions, their feelings, how to regulate those feelings, how to voice if they're not okay about something. You could talk to a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old or even a younger child, and he would or she would definitely tell you that, look, I don't like what you're doing. I remember a time where my child was 4-5 years old, and this was during COVID, and I was constantly on my laptop, and he wanted to share something with me. So he came into the room, and I said, you need to wait because Mama is busy right now, and I'll talk to you in a bit. And he waited for me to finish my meeting, and then he came to me and said, I don't like being ignored. He's like, I didn't like that you don't have time for me. And that kind of caught me off guard for a bit, that, look, children today can express what they feel. And I think somewhere all parents should be given the opportunity to hear their children out and have those conversations with them. So one of the things that we do very clearly in Mont is, because we believe in open communication, we encourage our parents to ask the right questions to our children so that they could get the right kind of answers. And probably that would lead to a better understanding of their children and better parenting at the end of the day.
Right. Well said, ma'am.
So, ma'am, Aditi, ma'am, what innovative teaching methods have you implemented to improve academic performances?
The teaching and learning at our school, it revolves around 3 C's: character, competencies, and context, as well as joy of learning and developing students' agency.
Right.
So, as a PYP IB school, character development is one of the key aspects of teaching and learning. So, we want our children to become having some kind of values. So, we call them like they have to be good communicator, they have to be balanced, they have to be principled, they have to be caring. So, there are 10 learner profile attributes that we want them to develop. So, as in parallel with character development, we have the competencies. We call them ATL skills. So want them to have the research skills, the thinking skills.
Okay.
So we want them to be innovative, right? So we want them to be good communicator. We want them to be good thinker. So we want them to have all those competencies that are relevant for the 21st century. And then comes the context. Now, content knowledge now is accessible everywhere. So they can get it from books, they can get it from online, net, AI, everywhere. But applying that content to the proper context is a big challenge. That comes with the proper research skills. Now, you might ask me, okay, ma'am, you are talking about PYPs, early years. What kind of research skill you will develop there, right? But research skill development starts from there. How to sort the informations, right? Whatever information you get, how do you know whether they're authentic, they're not authentic? So those kind of skills we give them. So character competencies, context is done. Now it's joy of learning. So we make the learning very engaging for the students. They don't have a textbook. So early year to grade 5, there are no prescribed textbooks in our class. So what they do is that it's all experiential. So they play, they explore, they go through that the cycle of innovation, and then they learn. So it is fun for them. Whole day they are very active, very engaged. So that is one of the aspects. And then we give them agency. When I say agency, that means they have their voice and choice. That means it's not that teacher is giving some work and they have to do it. They have their own choices, what they want to do and how they want to do the work. We encourage them to ask lots of questions. So they learn how to ask questions because those are the basis of inquiry. So they ask questions, they are very active. So that's how this is a very fun way, and we can see that the students are growing and they are glowing and they are having fun, and then they want to come to school. So I tell my teachers that the best thing is that every day the students, they have to look forward to come to school. I want to go to school. And that is happening at our school, and I'm very, very proud of it. So that is how we actually make the learning happen at our school.
Amazing, ma'am. So, Anupama Mam, can you tell me, what do you use to identify and support students who are struggling academically?
Thank you for that thought-provoking question. But I have to counter that with another question that on what basis do we say they are low-performing students, right? So if we can categorize students as low-performing, then there is something really wrong with the system. Because children are children, and like I've been telling, and I strongly believe that every child, or a child who grows into an individual, has something. So do you have the right tools in your system to bring out what is good in that child, right? So we are all talking about competency, and we know that competency is a combination of three aspects, which is knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Is it possible for any educator to say that some child has none of these three? I don't think so, right? Children have a mix of the knowledge, skills, and attitudes, either in combination. Maybe they are low on something but high on something else. So there cannot be a child who has none of these. So the question is that in our schools or our systems, do we have a robust system which not only assesses the child but also monitors the child's learning, growth, development? How are we, like what is the system? Are we going by the marks procured by the child at term and sessions, or like your midterm exams and annual exams, or do we have a system where we are monitoring the child throughout the academic year, throughout the day, in the playground, when the child is in a lab? So what is our system of monitoring the growth and progress of the child, that we are categorically saying that this child is performing low? Yes. Unfortunately, in our system, marks are used as descriptors to say whether the child is intelligent, not so intelligent, average, below average, or whatever you want to say. But I think if you look at very progressive systems of education around the world, so the term and exams are not the only indicators of a child's acumen or potential. So I think that the teachers should be trained on observing the child on different parameters, like Shahista ma'am was mentioning. And I think the holistic progress card that has been introduced now is going to bring in a lot of changes in the way we assess our child, because these are not absolute grades, that okay, writing the child is good or not good, but it also says at what level of progress is the child. Is the child on an emerging scale, or is the child developing those skills, or has the child already established? So I think even as parents, they are always stressed about children's performance, because we are only sharing these marks or grades with them. And sometimes, as parents, it can be alarming when they see that the child is not performing at the maybe grade level. So, a lot of awareness must be created amongst the parents also about the way we assess, and also teachers should be trained well so that they do not make statements like this, that the child is performing at a lower level. And we must also ensure, since marks are unfortunately critical in many places during the child's educational journey, I think we have to, like ma'am already said about choice and voice given to the students, we should have multiple ways in which children can express themselves. For example, in an English class, suppose a teacher wants a report. The report can either be written, it can be in the form of a document prepared, using some tools, technological tools. The child can dance and express, the child can sing. So, are we giving the children this kind of flexible way of expressing themselves? If we do it, believe me, there are no students who perform low.
Right.
The only question is, are we giving this? And of course, our monitoring should be very, very dynamic. It should be relevant to what we have taught in class. And there are many choices that the child can make. Need not always be a particular board or a formal examination. Now there are a lot of courses that the child can take up in their area of interest, and we have to guide the parents to allow their children to do what they are good at. So I would just like to mention at the end, as an answer to the question that you asked, that I strongly believe that no child is useless. They are only used less. So the question is, do we know how to make use of the potential that the child has?
Right. Wow. Well said, ma'am. So with that, Shahista ma'am, can you tell me what role do extracurricular activities play in enhancing academic excellence at your school?
Thank you for that question. So, like we've heard everybody on the panel speaking, we have used three words very significantly in our conversations. Of course, we've used academia, but apart from that, Aditi ma'am, she used skills, and Anupama Mam just now spoke about interests. When we talk about holistic development, these three, I would call them rivers, are equally important, right? So you have the river of academia, which is of course right at the center, and then supplementing this river is the river of skill and the river of interest. For Generation Z, and considering the job environments that they would be getting into, the river of skill has started gaining a lot of importance and priority. So we talk about 21st century skills. We're talking about ensuring that our children are, able to adapt to their work cultures, their environments. We've got technology, and therefore we need, workers of tomorrow who can communicate, would probably be sitting in India and their clients are somewhere in the US. So we are going to talk about, we give a lot of emphasis on skill. But I think somewhere between academia and skill, the river of interest does not get that much focus. And I think that's what extracurriculars do at our institutions. It allows us to understand where our children are coming from in terms of what it is that interests them, what are their strengths. Flamont is very high on strengths education, and we're also a school that believes in brain-based learning. So for us, extracurricular enhances both these goals. When we talk about strengths, we try to understand, is this child's strength creativity? Is it communication?
Right.
Is it conflict resolution? We don't know. But the extracurriculars that they're a part of are designed to allow them the opportunities to be able to come out and show those or display those strengths. And the teachers who support these extracurriculars are not doing it just because, okay, there's something that needs to happen as a part of the daily routine of the school, but they're asked to identify the strengths and use the language of strengths for these children. Specific praise. You know what? You're great at communication. I love the way you've used these words to articulate what you want to say. The minute we understand that a child is really, really good at something, even as young as 3 and 4 in our environments, we start nurturing and giving them those skills. So extracurriculars play a very important role, at least for us, and I'm sure in all other institutions as well, to bring focus to that river of interest. But here I'd like to take a pause, and I want to kind of address the very pressing issue that at least I have faced, where I call this phenomenon as bursting of the bubble. Like Mam says, up to a certain age, all parents are very for these things. They're like, oh, great. Don't worry about academia. Let's look at skilling. Let's look at interest. But I think after a certain grade, everybody starts talking about marks and percentages, and they start questioning the foundations of their choices. And I think this is where we lose the plot. And I would sincerely request everybody that's listening in, including parents, and I'm a mother of 3 kids. I think somewhere, if we want to be true to our education, what we are giving our children, we need to keep in focus that river of interest. And I think that's what extracurriculars do, or they should be doing at schools.
Very good. Aditi ma'am, can you tell me, how do you ensure that all students, regardless of their background, have access to the resources they need to succeed?
When you are talking about resources, I am identifying resources as knowledge and skills, because those two are needed for their success. So now there is a buzzword that is differentiation, right? And personalized learning. I am a big fan of personalized learning, but not so big fan of differentiation. So first we are coming to personalized learning. So when a child is entering a classroom, I believe that it is the educator's responsibility to know the child enough and well, right? What are the child's interests, how the child learn the best. And when the educator knows the child that well, then the actual learning happens. So learning depends on the child's interest, and we have to set the goal for that child specially, right? So, and that we have to make sure that the child is developing with time. So if a child needs a little bit extra support in math, and that is provided, so we have to identify that goal, that where the child needs to grow and what is the child's interest. So that is the personalized learning. I think it is very, very crucial. And then along with the personalized learning, there comes a differentiation, because not all the children in a class will learn the same way, right? But why I said that I'm not a big fan of differentiation is, once you say that we will do a differentiated learning for so and so child, then you are, as ma'am already said, that you are identifying that the child has some lacking it somewhere, right? So that should not be the goal. So what I suggest and I tell my teachers is that your plan has to be universally designed. So we call it UDL, universally designed plan, where when the teacher is planning for the lesson, they will plan for all the students in the class in mind, right? That means the teacher should be aware of what the students are and what are their liking and their interests, and the plan should be included. Everybody should be included within the plan itself. Now, apart from that, I also think that social emotional learning plays a big role in today's world. So when I say social emotional learning, what I meant is that with every schools, I think in today's context, should be having one counselor. Because I have seen as a mother, as an educator, that today's world, the students are going through tremendous stress because of those pressure, peer pressure, pressure of the outside world, pressure of actually doing extremely well in exams. So we should be having a counselor as well as the emotional routines should be played in the class. That means like 5 minutes chair yoga or some kind of meditation sessions, or the counselor's availability is a crucial thing that students should be going and feeling they are going there and talking whatever is coming in their mind, sharing that out loud. So those are the support I think nowadays we should provide to the students to make sure that that support is there, so that they can access the knowledge freely. They don't feel the pressure. They can develop their skills freely. They don't feel the pressure, pressure of failure. Pressure of failure is the big thing. So the school should be nurturing all those things so that they are actually growing to their and reaching their potential.
Right, ma'am. So, Anupama Mam, can you share an example of a successful intervention program that has significantly improved students' achievement in your school?
Yeah, thank you. I think that's a very encouraging question, I would say. And it is really important to not only engage our children, but also to empower them.
Right.
And empowering happens only when we trust them and we give them uh, I would say the freedom to be decision makers. Generally, we all believe that we as adults make the best decisions for the students, but we have seen examples of how students can be the best decision makers for other students. So, I just want to give an example that happened in our school. Our student council last year, they took up their positions very seriously, because generally students wear a badge for a complete year and do this and do that, and their term is over. But last year, my student council was very different. And the entire council got together and they said, we would like to have a meeting with you. And I said, okay, what is it about? So they said that these are the things we want to do in school. And it was so encouraging to see that they actually came up with suggestions of checking the quality of drinking water. They said for some reason that water tastes a little different. So can we ensure that the water we are drinking is safe? So we had to show them the reports that the water is of course safe. They went on to say that the t-shirts that we are wearing not very interesting. So we had a competition for them and they came out with the best of designs that we could not think of. And also going a step further, they said that there are many realms of school life which are not represented, which we don't discuss enough about that. So can we form clubs in the school? And when we gave them permission, they formed nearly about 17 clubs. And we have already 28 hobby clubs also in our school, ranging from cooking without fire to organic farming to robotics to karate and everything else. They added a few more, and the kind of work they did, they went and they helped students who are lesser privileged. They had discussions on how students have to be respectful towards each other. And they actually brought alive the anti-bullying committee that has always been existing in our school, but they asked us to put boxes for suggestions so that students can put in their concerns anonymously, And they took the responsibility of sifting through those concerns that they were there, and they brought to us only the ones that needed our attention, and the rest of it they took care. They took care of discipline in the school buses. They ensured that they would talk to their friends about substance abuse, time management during school exams, and many, many more very, very relevant topics. So, what I would like to say is that when students are given the freedom to be part of the decision making, they understand what their generation goes through, and they can be very responsible also, irrespective of their age. So I think that students should be given this kind of being a part of the management in terms of decision making, and they should be consulted for everything. We have inter-school fest that happen every year. It is custom in our school. We're going to have it in the month of September, and it is completely run by the students.
Wow.
If you just go to our Insta page, you will see the wonderful reels made by them. We can never come up with such creative ideas,
Right.
and they do it in such a way that nobody is offended, and they do not discriminate. They don't have any biases. So you were talking about creativity. So creativity is in allowing them to do what pertains to them. We always tend to think that we are the best judges. Unfortunately, we are not.
Right.
So I think children should be taken seriously, because as compared to us, they are far more focused. They not only know their destination, but they also know the way that they have to go. They are ready to take the risks. So we have seen a lot of change in our systems when we have allowed children to do a little more than just studying at our school.
But ma'am, that's like a really great initiative that you are teaching them from extracurriculars. Wow, I appreciate it, ma'am.
Thank you.
So with that, Shahista ma'am, can you tell me how do you support teacher in their profession development to maintain high teaching standards?
Thank you for that question. And that's a very relevant question, Priyanka, because I think teachers in this entire recipe of education play a very crucial role. They're a very important ingredient, because without the teachers, learning cannot happen. And there is a lot of awareness right now about teachers' well-being, both physical and mental well-being, because they are under a lot of pressure to perform. Today's parents, speaking from a parent perspective myself, we demand a lot from the teachers. And, my mom's a teacher as well. So she keeps telling me that, when we were teachers, the kind of respect and the love that we got, today, unfortunately, you don't see that kind of, that appreciation that you are playing such an important role in my child's nurturing. So I think teachers need a lot of support. So it's a very relevant question that you brought up. Now, when it comes to Mont, we are very high, like I said, on teacher well-being. And for us as a progressive school, we are constantly experimenting with new ways of, getting our children to learn and enhance avenues of experience. So experiential learning is something we're very high on. And as a part of my learning, and I still have a lot to learn. My peers here are a lot more experienced and they speak so beautifully, and I've learned a lot from them today. But definitely, I see that, when myself as an educator, I'm also constantly learning and evolving. And these are opportunities that we must give our teachers. They should never feel that they're stagnating in any which way. And professional development plays a very important role there. So at my school, because of the fact that we are constantly looking for ways to engage Generation Z in a manner that, that appeals to them, we constantly try to give our teachers a flavor of what it would feel like to be in their place.
Right.
So there's a constant question of, okay, this is great, but how can we make it better? And it's never the first idea that is accepted. It's like, okay, this is great, but can you think of 3 more? And believe it or not, sometimes the ideas that come out from teacher brainstorming sessions are so amazing that they think of very out of the box, solutions. And because of the fact that they think of these solutions, they're also excited to implement those solutions and, track their progress. So we ensure that our teachers are constantly supported through their academic journey, of course. We ensure that, we're very high on learning for understanding rather than learning for completion of a curriculum or learning for grades. So we always tell the teacher, look, it's all right for you to go slow on a particular topic. We call them the concept of slow classrooms. We're very high on that. It's better that the children have a deeper understanding on something, or if you feel that the children are really enjoying a particular subject or a particular topic, please take time to complete it in a manner that you know that you're satisfied. And because of that freedom that the teachers receive within our institution, we find that they are very, very happy about exploring, different and creative ways of doing things. But at the same time, last year, we actually brought in a counselor for our teachers.
Oh,
yes.
that's amazing.
This is somebody who's completely outside the organization, is not connected with the management in any way. And it's just a one-on-one session with that person for like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, just to kind of allow the teacher to vent. And it doesn't have to be school related. It could be pretty much anything. It's like a therapy session for the teachers. So that has really, really helped, especially with your mental well-being. And we also find that, especially as a growing school, sometimes we have the experienced teachers who have to welcome the younger ones who come in. And there is always this resistance that we find, in terms of resistance from the newcomers saying, oh, she's my senior and how do I behave around her? And resistance from the seniors saying that, okay, I need to maintain a certain level with the juniors that are coming in. So we constantly ensure that we are team building. We take them out, we have fun with them. We ensure that they are always in a happy place. I think that's very, very, very important to ensure that our children, get the repercussions of that. So yeah, teacher support is very, very, very important. And I believe that teachers are a very, very, very important aspect of children's education, and they will continue to be for many, many years to come.
Right. Well said, Shahista ma'am. So with that, we come to the end of this episode. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your valuable insights. We were delighted to have you on our show. We'll see you next time. That's a wrap up. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
That's all for today's engaging panel discussion. Due to some time constraints, we could only take few questions, but feel free to reach out to us for any further queries, and we'll be happy to answer them offline. Thank you so much for watching our videos. For more such videos, log on to our website www.theenn.com. This is Renuka, and that's a wrap for today.